very busy business and markets weeks to get started for the second full business week in December. Pardon, just getting this out in my head with us getting started. We're counting down to the final few days and weeks of 2023 is the 11th day of December, Monday. Let's get you through the marketplace. Get on to see the where we finished off on Friday, and of course of Egypt starting the zone market week in Cairo on Sunday with 1.01% in the red for the EGX 30, which is the exchange's most watched index. The Nigerian market finished Friday 0.12%. Week on week it was 0.17%. The market saw some heavy pullback on some of the big names in the week just behind us, so that those declines moderated the gains that we saw also in the week. So it's a bit of one step forward, one step backward, but we finished off a bit nicely, 17 basis points. The BRVM jumped very strongly Friday, 0.63% to wrap up the first full weekend in December. Then you've got the Nairobi stock market up just 1 basis point, 93.94, and the GSE a very sharp decline, 1.33%. Those are the markets numbers. Zimbabwe stock market roared Friday very strongly, 2.25%, the biggest jump we saw on all the exchanges on the African continent. And that's just summarizing the markets for you where we finished on Friday. We're starting the new week today. And of course, we're beginning to see a bit of a profit booking by some investors across some of the regions as we look to Christmas and the New Year and the long holiday just ahead. Again, investors trying to rebalance their portfolio for the final month in the year just before folks pack things up a bit and move on to the Yuletide and the New Year festivities. In East Africa, what's making the headlines? Uganda's reporting debt servicing rising to about 3.7 trillion Uganda shillings. That's according to the central bank, the Bank of Uganda. We've got a whole lot of debt issue conversation this week with Ghana as well. Also having is debt talks restructuring in place, but again, China's have stopped those discussions until Ghana could come up with a few issues around its discussions. The IMF is on the standby for $3 billion support for the government in Accra, but all that is now in play. Ethiopia, over the weekend, we got news that Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy's government could default or is defaulting on its debt service payments. And that is also putting a bit of a cog in the wheel of its progress in terms of relationship and discussions with the IMF and the World Bank. Then, of course, we're dealing with Zambia, whose G20 framework is also being stalled in the manner of speaking. So there's a whole lot of debt issues to deal with across Frontier Africa as we move towards the end of the year. The head of the central bank in Kenya, Dr. Atuje, says M-Pesa's spin-off from Safaricom, which is the parent company, is still in the works. It's still work in progress. It hasn't been done yet. How much tax Safaricom will have to incur in spinning off M-Pesa, that will be something to see moving forward. All those conversations still going on. Kenya is reporting about $4.8 billion energy deals at the COP28. The president, William Ruto, is the poster boy for the whole COP28 summit, which will be wrapped up formally tomorrow in Dubai. Then you have Kenya's Clipsco Insurance under receivership and will be going into liquidation. That's the news coming through over the weekend. While Tanzania's Minister of Trade, Ashatu Kigagi, has been named the chairperson of the AFCFTA Council of Ministers. And congratulations as part of the AFCFTA moving the needle forward in terms of this new intra-Africa trade agreement. Then you have the Kenya Power unveiling the 5-year operational roadmap that would help this listed energy company move forward. Those are the headlines across East Africa. But let's touch on West Africa briefly with Moody's raising Nigeria's outlook to positive from stable. That came over the over the last few days. Then we got Fitch ratings. Moody's talking about Nigerian banks. Then you've got Fitch raising Nigeria's outlook from stable to positive. That's some news that's Nigeria could use. But again, there's a whole lot more work. The whole idea was whether some of the pains of the reforms that the new administration has announced so far this year could begin to fade out in 2024, and we get more clarity on the actions behind those policies, and those things will help the country's macroeconomic outlook. The IMF is advancing the central bank under Olayin Cardoso, the new central bank governor, to raise interest rates further as the country sees inflation at about 27.33%. The central bank has been mopping up liquidity in Naira very aggressively over the past couple of weeks, trying to rein in the country's inflation and slow down the pace at which inflation grows on a month-on-month basis. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has inaugurated a new National Council on Privatization. Of course, the Vice President is the head of that body, which is responsible for looking at the government assets in conjunction with the Bureau of Public Enterprises and see what's available. The new government under Tinubu is looking to see about almost 300 billion naira in revenue this year to support the budget from privatization program. But how much good assets, value assets that can be taken to the market out there by the government, all eyes are on the NNPC, which is now a limited liability company. The EBID, which is based in Togo, says is 30 million euros is what is supporting Cote d'Ivoire agricultural sector. And Senegal says he raised about 28.36 billion CFA franc from the West African Monetary Union market in last week through T-bills and T-bonds. Let me walk you through the Southern Africa's headlines as we start. This is Monday, the 11th of December. South Africa's private projects surge amid Eskom's blackouts by Eskom, Transnet problems in logistics, knocked South Africa's economy in the third quarter and so far this year, with some analysts predicting run into a recession in the current fourth quarter by Africa's most advanced economy. In the meantime, Australia's Invictus Energy says it's made gas discovery in Zimbabwe. That news came towards the end of last week. It's been well celebrated as Zimbabwe will join the gas exporting countries. Zimbabwe and Botswana are looking at scrapping visa requirements between both countries, while China has lifted tariffs on imports from a number of African countries: Angola, Mauritania, Mali, Madagascar, DRC, as well as the Gambia in West Africa. So we finish this off in North Africa with Egypt, looking at a net foreign FX reserves surging nearly 5% as at the end of last month, while the IMF is planning a possible additional financing support for the President Al-Sisi, who is likely to win the current elections going on. We'll wait to see the announcement of the elections that's been moved forward to this year. I guess next year. Let's see how it goes, but we'll get those final announcements in the next few days. President Al-Sisi is standing in the elections for the third term in office. Sana Mahawk, which is listed on the Casablanca Stock Exchange, says it reported about 3.1% turnover upside for the period ended September, while Morocco's House of Councillors has adopted the country's 2024 finance bill to support the budget of a president of the King of Morocco. And let's see how all that plays out in the days and weeks ahead. And this is your Frontier Opening Bell. Let's get the week started. It's a brand new business and market. I'll see you throughout the rest of the week, everyone. Go online and watch this show again, as well as all other shows and content that we produce for you on Frontier Africa Reports.